Good morning. Oh, that's very not looking very good in terms of that's better. So we were looking very robotic there. So good morning and welcome. My name is Helen Jennings. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK. I am very aware that we are in the middle of a storm. So although it does impacting on internet signal and things, so apologies if we are a bit jumpy. Hopefully we will keep going sufficiently to do some crafting on this Friday morning. So morning Lisa, morning Jane. Yeah, we are we've got red weather warnings and amber weather warnings and all sorts going on throughout the country with this storm that's about to hit, but always in the process of hitting. As I say, here it's not too bad at the moment, a bit blustery, but yeah, not too bad, but it may be having an impact, as I say, on the internet, so we will keep an eye out for that. So mine, as I say, my name is Helen Jennings. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the UK. I've been a Stampin' Up demonstrator for 8 years now, and for a number of years I've been coming on and doing Facebook Lives and crafting along with you. So morning Div, lovely to have you with us this morning. I'm tempted to go onto Facebook and see how that's coming across, but I won't, because that will probably just make it worse. Oh, so let me bring in my downward camera and let's see how we get on this blustery Friday morning. So this is me, www.loveaduckie.co.uk, and I need to put onto my wish list to get some matte laminating pouches so that we don't get that shiny ring light on my website matte. But that's where you can find me. That's where you can find all the inspiration, links to my shops, tutorial bundles, all sorts of things you'll find over on my website at www.loveaduckie.co.uk. Morning, Lee. And yes, so Love-a-Duckie is also what to look out for if you are looking for me on Pinterest, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. Have I covered everything? That's where to go looking to find me, to see what I've been up to. And today we are going to have a look at another celebration set. Now, we looked at the one on the friendly hello on Monday, which is a stamp and paper bundle. But today we're going to have a look at the catching butterflies, and I'm ashamed to say yet it is as of yet unused, but we're going to put that right this morning. So obviously Sale-a-Bration is running now up until the 28th of February, so you have got 10 days, yes, with the 18th today, you've got 10 days in which to get your hands on any Sale-a-Bration items that you would like to add to your collection. Here in the UK, you need a £45 order, and you will then have earned yourself a free Sale-a-Bration item, obviously for every £45 after that. You can either earn a second Sale-a-Bration item or a bigger Sale-a-Bration item. So some things are £45 orders, some things are £90 orders, but that has only got another 10 days to go. So I thought we would have a last sort of little play with these on our lives this week. Some of the things we haven't played with. So this is rather a sweet little stamp set. Let me take this paper out of here. Actually makes it easier for me taking pictures after the live as well. So you can see you've got this lovely little image of this little girl and her butterfly net and a host of little butterflies that she can be chasing. So you've got this sort of what's there, six little butterflies in a little group just there, and you've got this individual one here. You've got a bit of ground that you can ground your lady with. She's actually shoeless. She's barefoot, scampering after the butterflies, and then you've got these little sentiments that go with it. You make my heart happy, celebrate every beautiful thing. I do like that one. And collecting sweet thoughts of you. So those are our stamps. And I thought we'd do a couple of different things with these today. We'll do a simple little fancy fold, and we'll have a play with our new Natural Stampin Blends. So I've popped those out of their rubber sheet. Let's just pop these stamps onto their backing. So here's our little girl with Annette. Obviously, there's no reason why you couldn't sort of do a little bit of surgery, and you could have her carrying a balloon. We've got balloons in some of our stamp sets and things. You could give her a balloon rather than a net. We have got the kite, haven't we? There is the stamp set in that mini catalogue with kites in. It would perhaps be possible to have her flying a kite. I haven't got that stamp set at the moment, so I can't demonstrate that, but it is just a random thought. If you do have the kite stamp set, you could have this little girl running along with her kite. I took my grandson to the park yesterday, and there was a family there with their kite. I'm not sure that they ever actually managed to get it up. That's always the thing with kites, isn't it? It looks much easier in theory than it is in practice to get them soaring. Certainly wouldn't take one out today. We have got a couple of sort of blustery days as opposed to force 9 gale days coming up, which would be perfect for kite flying. So if you are in that kite flying mode or mood, then why not make a card to celebrate if you have the equipment. Here's our little single butterfly, and last but not least, we have this little stamp. It's just going to give you a bit of ground. Going to be able to ground your lady rather than having her floating off into the ether. Move that to one side. Right, so I'm going to bring in a bit of, let's grab ourselves a bit of basic white card. And, excuse me while I find my trimmer. I have rather excitingly got to my first class that I am running outside of the house. It's the first class outside of the house in about 2 years this weekend. So that's very exciting. I've done classes at home since the arrival of COVID, but this will be the first one I've done outside. So that's going to be an interesting experience in packing everything up to go on the road. Not done that for quite a while. Okay, so we have our little piece of basic white card. And let's have a look. What block do we want for our little girl? It was perhaps a bit brave sticking it on that piece of think we're going to need an E block for her, just because she's going to be slightly bigger, I think, than a D block. Let's have some butterflies. I'm going to have some of these large butterflies. Let's put the little butterfly on a block. Let's put that round piece, and then we will dip into our sentiments as and when. But I'm going to be looking to using my Stampin' Blends, so we need a Memento ink pad. Let me find you. Here we are. I'm going to ink her up. Tap, tap, tap all the way over until I'm happy that she's completely inked. And I'm going to have her so she sort of, her toes are on the ground. And her butterfly net is floating ahead of her. I'm going to come in with this little ground piece. Just sort of have that underneath there. We'll have this little butterfly that she's obviously chasing. And then we'll have the ones that are not perhaps quite getting away, but that aren't in the sights of her net. I think I'm going to come on with this Celebrate Every Beautiful Thing. I'm going to have that sitting between those butterflies just there. Right. Let me grab my blends. What colour dress shall I give her? Oh, dropping them on the floor. I'll come in, I think, with some fresh freesia. This is the dark one. I'm just going to sort of follow the lines of the pleats on that dress. Come around the edges. I'm going to come in with the light one. Got a dark magenta madness here. I think I'm just going to randomly add a few spots to her dress because, well, why not? Give her a bit of patterned fabric. I'm going to keep those fresh freesia out and looking for my light magenta madness. So I haven't got it out of the thing. So some light magenta madness And to go with that, I think we'll come in with some pale papaya. So we'll perhaps use those for our butterflies. So we'll do a bit of mixing and matching as to the colours of our butterflies. Come in with some pale papaya, add some bits in the centre of there. Perhaps this one will have the outside. I've not had my breakfast yet this morning and my tummy is rumbling. I'm hoping that you can't pick that up on camera. But if you do hear some strange grumbling sounds in the background, it could be me. I don't know how you are with breakfast. I'm not very good at getting up and eating my breakfast straight away. My husband wouldn't dream of doing anything until he'd eaten his breakfast. I, on the other hand, potter around a bit and then go back to it. Right, what shall we have on that one? Might add a little bit of pink in the centre of there as well, just to and this one, let's have Magenta Madness at the top and Fresh Freesia at the bottom. There we are. So we've given our butterflies some colour. I'm not necessarily going to add any colour as such to our net. Let's just come round the edge a little bit and just add a little bit of light balmy blue, not to colour it in, but almost just to help it to pop a little bit. Right, so we've got a nice brightly coloured little dress, and we have her net. Now I'm going to bring in these new Natural Tones. Sorry, that was a bit close and fuzzy. We have these new Natural Tones blends. Now these are different from our other blends in that they're not named. They haven't got a light and dark something. They have all got numbers on. I don't know if you can pick that up. This one is number SU 900, and they go from 100, which I think is this darkest one, up to 1,000. So 100, 200, 300, that's 500, 600, there's 400, that's 1,000, that's 900, that's 700, and that's 800. So there we are. That's them going from SU 100 through to SU 1,000, and you can see they're obviously getting sort of lighter shades as they go across that spectrum. And you perhaps also notice that some of them, and particularly if you look at sort of like these here, you will notice that this one has got sort of quite a yellowy tinge to it, so quite a yellowy undertone. And this one is far more of a pink undertone. And so you sort of do have that difference. Um, Yeah, I quite agree, Lisa. Yeah, that would be me. Go nip off and do something, come back and sort of almost enjoy a leisurely breakfast. So on the mornings I do lives, I tend to do my live, eat my breakfast, have a cup of tea, and then sort of start doing pictures and those sorts of things. But anyway, back to the colours. You can see you go from really quite dark one end to sort of far more pinky sort of tone down the others. So obviously these, one of the main reasons for releasing these is for skin tones, and that's what we're going to do in a minute. We're going to add hair and skin to our little girl, but also fabulous for fur, and just generally to add, you know, another range of colours into our stamping blends. So do have a play with that, and you can start sort of blending them together to get different sort of shades, and all sorts of things. So our question is, what are we going to do in terms of colour tone on our little girl? So I think I might go quite dark with her hair. So I might use those two for her hair. And I think I'm going to sort of come in sort of mid-range with her skin tone. Let's have a look how we get on. So I'm going to start with her hair. So I'm going to come in with this SU200 because I want there to be sort of some highlights in there, because hair is never really all one colour unless you've done something out of a bottle that is completely non-multitonal, but even those dyes tend to have a bit of multitonal elements to them. There's obviously no reason why you couldn't, you know, make her use some of our other blends, and if we've been colouring in hair and things for a long time, you can use other colours to make her anything from platinum blonde to ginger. But we're going to use these darker browns to give her a quite dark hair colour. Let's see how I go with those. We'll see how we decide to come in with these other colours. So this is this is 600. I'm come in around here. Come in slightly with the 1000 to where her cheeks would be. And let's come in. Actually, I think I've gone the wrong way with that. That's the 400. Now let's bring in the 600, which is the slightly paler colour. Let's bring that in and to blend that into those sort of cheeky sections. We'll add a bit more pink in there. Let's blend these round, blend out that darker colour on the edges. Coming in with circular motions. Come in on our hands to feet. So this is the 400, so the slightly darker one, and round her neckline. So she's rather sweet. I'm coming again with this 1000. Right, okay. I'll just pick up a bit of granny apple green here. Just going to add a bit of green grass where that shading is. Come back in with my light balmy blue, and I think we'll add in some sky. We'll come around these butterflies. I think if I was to win the lottery tomorrow, I don't know if you have a lottery wish list, I'd have to first start doing the lottery. But I would like to have a complete revamp of my stamping blends because they are very well loved. And quite a few of them now are in need of replacing. And I'd also have a complete update of my stamp pads, make sure I'd replaced any old ones. The balmy blue is certainly wearing thin, but then that is one that I use rather a lot for adding in sky. Not worry too much about it being completely solid colour because that does sort of give it almost a cloudy effect. Let's come around to this little butterfly. And then we'll just bring this out. Poor little balmy blue blend. It really is on its last legs. Right, so there we have our little girl using those lovely skin tones, chasing butterflies. What I did think I'd have a look at was some of this beautiful marble effect paper. Perhaps we would add some of that in. You've got really deep swirls. Actually, that looks quite nice, doesn't it? on one side and more of a marble effect on the other. So, and this is another celebration item, so this is something else that you can get for free with your £45 orders. Got pink in there, got a yellow, got this grey, sort of Bermuda Bay sort of green. Let's go with this, I think. So although I think this is more Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape than it is Fresh Freesia, I think that might still work in the background there. I think I might trim this down a little bit more. So we were 9.5 by 13.9. Let's make it and take just a little bit off the top. Are we about there? I'll take just a slither off the bottom. And we'll take this and we'll cut this to 10 by 14.4. A bit of that swirly purple in the background there. You want a white carbide? Let me go and grab a piece of Magenta Madness, I think. That's pretty full, isn't it? Let's have that. I'm going to cut that in half and score it in half. Pretty, pretty. I think we might have her going on a bit of an angle. So it helps give that impression of chasing butterflies. Let's stick that on there. Not sure how I feel about those ribbons. I don't think we'll worry. I do think I'll bring in some dimensionals. Let's use up some edge bits and we'll raise this part up. You can see behind where you've got that really nice juicy stamping blend and it's soaked through your card. So that will happen. That is perfectly normal. Just make sure you don't colour directly on your best French polished antique table, because you might find that that gets little marks on it, which is not what you want. And let's have that coming at a bit of an angle so that the top corner is on that edge, the bottom corner is on that edge. Celebrate every beautiful thing. Indeed. Let's bring in some of all these pastel pearls. I think we used some of these the other day. And let's come here, I think. Beautiful. So there we have our little girl. And just cut a piece of card. .9 by 9.5 to go on the inside. And I think we'll just, oh no, not that one. Add a smattering of butterflies to that. I'm still squeezing the last out of that particular bottle of glue. So there we are, we've just added some little butterflies into the inside of there. So celebrate every beautiful thing. So it's really nice to be able to experiment with skin tones, yeah, and have a bit of a play. And you can really match the card to the person that you're sending it to, just by sort of having a bit of a play with those different colour tones. And there is a chart that you can download. And I did do a blog post on these, and the chart was linked on that, I believe, that you can download to experiment, to have like a crib sheet that you can go to see, you know, if I use this colour and this colour, if I use SU100 and SU1000, you know, this is what they're like individually, this is what they're like as they blend together. So quite useful as a point of reference. Right, now for something completely different, I've got here a piece of lovely lipstick card. I'm going to trim it down so that it's 14.9 centimeters wide, so that's half a piece of A4 for us. And then I'm going to cut it in half at 10.5 centimeters. So I have now got two pieces of card that are both 14.9 by 10.5. If you were doing this using imperial cardstock, they would both be 5.5 inches by 4.25, I believe. I'm now going to score both pieces, and I'm just going to score them both at 1.5 and 3 centimeters on either end. 1.5 and 3. Do the same with this. Now, if you were doing this with metric cardstock, probably about 1/2 inch and 1 inch, probably slightly smaller sections than this, but would still work. In order for us to do the equivalent, it was either I went 1 or I went 1.5, because 1.25 is just a bit too complicated. Right, so now I have two pieces of card, both the same, both with these score marks at 1.5 inches and 3 inches on both ends. I'm going to take this one, I'm going to fold it like that, so it's a mountain fold and a valley fold. Concertina it back on itself. And then this one, I'll do the same. because what will eventually happen is that one will be stuck to that one to make this sort of little box window card that will fold flat to go in the envelope. So you've got a fancy fold, nice square that will then fold flat. So I'm going to take this piece. Actually, I'm going to swap that over just because. I'm going to take this piece and I am going to take my hippo dies. I do love these dies. And let's have a look. That's too big. I think we're going to go with this window just here. It's a bit like play school for any of you that are sort of similar age to me and remember play school. What shape window are we going to look through? We're going to look through this window just here. So I'm going to die cut that in the centre of that card. I shall line that up and just run that through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss. Sure we're happy that it's centred. Yeah. And there we go. We have a little aperture in the back. So we're going to take this one and we're going to put a piece of white card in there. So we started off with 14.9. We have effectively taken away 3 centimetres each side. So we've got 1.5, 3 that side, 3 that side. So 14.9, take away 6 is, I believe, 8.9. And then this bit here is 10.5. So I'm going to cut a piece of card that's 8.4 by 10 centimetres. And at that point, we shall know if my maths was correct. I do believe it was. There we are. So that's going to sit in the back there, and that's what we're going to do our stamping on. What I'm going to do is line that up on there, and then I'm going to take a pencil that says Woman on a Mission. So this Woman on a Mission is just going to draw with pencil around here. So I've now got a faint pencil mark that gives me a guide to where my stamping needs to be, because I want my little girl to be in here. What I might do actually I'm going to use a post-it note. She's got a little wisp of hair there, but I think I don't necessarily need to worry too much about her little wisp of hair. Let's hold that post-it note just there. And let's stamp that. Remove our post-it note. And let's bring her toes down here, and then she should sit fairly centrally in there. Oh, we've got a little faint mark just there where I hadn't quite cleaned my stamp, but I'm not too worried about that, because what I'm then going to do is ink up that top bit and stamp that on a separate piece of card. I'm going to take our little butterfly and stamp a few of those. Okay. This time I'm going to take a blending brush and some balmy blue ink, and we will bring in a bit of sky and background on this one with some ink. Bringing that in, so that will just give that a bit of colour in the background. I also want to add a bit of colour behind this net. Then we've got lovely lipstick on our cardstock, so let's give her, not lovely lipstick, it's polished pink. I keep calling it lovely lipstick. That's a blast to the past, isn't it? It's polished pink we're using. So let's bring in our polished pink blend. And we will match her dress. To the cardstock. Squeaky, squeaky. And this time I think I'm going to come in with lighter shades. So this is number 900 and this is number 800. So one is sort of a bit more pinky than the other one. There we go. And then I think I'm going to come in with 1,000 and this is 700. So I think I'm going to come in around here with this slightly pinker one. Oh, now that's much darker than I thought it was going to come out. So let's replace that edge pieces and come in on the centre. We'll change our mind, we'll swap those around. We'll make that slightly darker around the edge with that 700 and use the 1000 in the centre. As time goes on, I'll get more used to which colours does what. That's quite nice. Just looking, come in with the dark petal pink, because obviously there's no reason why you can't also add in the colours you've already got. I'm just going to give her a bit of a glow to her cheeks with the dark petal pink. And now we've got our butterflies. Some granny apple green. Some light polished pink. I'm just mixing and matching these butterflies as to where things go. This is a bit of light daffodil delight. Let's have a bit of yellow coming in here as well. So obviously you can play with the colours of your butterflies to your heart's content. Grab a pair of scissors. Here's a pair. Let's cut out our net. And let's cut out our little butterflies. I'm going to give these a slight border just because I'm going to cut round those feelers. One. And if you cut round with a border all the way around rather than just the bit that you don't want to fussy cut with great detail, then at least it looks uniform. It was a design feature rather than a budget feature. There we go. Right, so hopefully that is going to sit in there. We're going to line our net up so that it sits on the top with our little butterflies scooting around. So the first thing I'm going to do is hopefully be able to rub out my pencil mark. I'm going to come in with a bit more ink just to make this slightly darker around here. And just digging out my polished pink ink. I'm going to come in on this background piece here and punch lots of little, not punch, stamp lots of little butterflies. I want them to go over the edge here, so I'll just and we have a nice butterfly stamped background there. Don't not lose those little butterflies. Not lose that net. Let's put these together. Right, so little girl. Really need to get a new glue out. I really am being completely determined to squeeze every last drop out of there. Going to take some tear and tape and just write down this outside piece. I think I'll put a couple of strips just to make sure it stays nice and secure. One and two. One and two. And then let's line these up. So we're going to join together our two outside pieces. to rest that down there a minute because I want this piece to sit directly over where that faint stamp line is underneath there. I'm just going to stick it on with some glue at the top. I obviously don't want the glue don't want it to be sticky underneath there, we just want it to be sticky on the top. Let's bring in some of our little butterflies and some dimensionals. I think I have one just here, and then the third one I think I'm going to stick inside the window. So like that. I'm going to bring in a black pencil. I'm just going to sort of join up that line. Down below so that her net is attached to something. And let's go back to our stamp set of greetings. We might have the collecting sweet thoughts of you. To use this bit of polished pink that I've cut out of there. And let's cut this smaller die out of the middle of there. A little label die. Now with these sorts of cards you can add in a central layer as well, so you can have a piece that will sit across the middle here. So you just want that to be, you'd want that to be smaller piece, and you'd stick it in between these two sections, and having it going across there, and have perhaps another aperture in there, particularly if you're using something like layering circles. You'd have a large circle on the outside, slightly smaller circle on this one, and then you can add other things sticking in out the sides if you want to. Could have butterflies sort of coming in, or we could have added a butterfly on an acetate strip stuck in that center panel. All sorts of things that you can do with these. But for now we're going to be collecting some sweet thoughts of you. And I think we'll have a few more little butterflies on there. I've got some polished pink ribbon. Yes, I have. Let's have a swirl of polished pink ribbon on the back. one. Two. These aren't my ribbon scissors, but they've done quite a good job. Let's actually just trim that bottom. So it sits there. Just going to pull back some of this adhesive on the top so that it doesn't overlap this piece and stick to the back of the card. Oh, it'd help if I took the backs off those, wouldn't it? They might stick much better if I do that. And then I think we'll find some in colour jewels to pick up some more polished pinkness. Have a couple on there. And then we'll add some round and about just for a bit of sparkle. So there she is, chasing her butterfly in a little box card that is going to fold flat to go in your envelope and then pop up to give a 3D stand on your shelf. Looks like looking into the television. So that's that one, and that's that one. So that's a look at that Catching Butterflies celebration set, and obviously a bit of a play with these beautiful new natural stamping blends, and just starting to toy with some of the skin tones and things and hair colours that you can get using those. So well worth adding to your collection, and you can get those now either you can either purchase them as individual pairs. You can get them at the moment as a whole collection, or you can get it along with all these other beautiful here together, all together things in the all together collection. You can get those papers and that stamp set and those dies and those papers as well. So however you would like to get them, well worth adding to your collection. So thank you for coming and playing on this Friday morning. I think it's time for breakfast. Have a wonderful weekend. I hope that you're not too affected by wind and storms if you're here locally. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll be back and see you again on Monday.